I did write it, so. Welcome to an evening of love and stories to help Sam crush cancer. I'm Eric Feig, and I met Sam a long time ago, actually, but I've only gotten to know him over the last 3 years. I organized tonight because I strongly believe in the power of a group of people who care about someone coming together with a common purpose to send positive, healing energy toward them, and I feel that I've witnessed miraculous results when this happens. So in putting tonight together, I did not want anyone to feel uncomfortable about having to share or that they were being put on the spot. So sharing is absolutely voluntary. The reason I asked people to bring some kind of story about Sam is because the process of sharing, and this is all just my opinion, of course, sharing a narrative offers profound opportunities for expanding and deepening relationships to Sam, to one another, to the cosmos, to God. The goal is to sort of travel through a story together as a multifaceted prism or catalyst for remembering, taking stock, and looking ahead. The reason I suggested funny stories about Sam, outside of the fact that he is a comedic genius, is because humor is one spiritual tool that has certainly enabled the Jewish people to endure experiences of suffering and dislocation. So, comedy is about getting a new perspective, stepping back from a situation enough to play up its incongruent, ironic, and or absurd aspects. And may lend us a degree of control over our experience, or may help to free us up to let go of that which is beyond our control. This is not to say that suffering is funny, light, or laughable, but that life generally has humorous dimensions and possibilities that can help us through the rough spots. So first, I hope everyone does feel like sharing a story or something about Sam, whatever they want, and then after that, I would ask that everyone join to say a few short prayers. Most are from Jewish liturgy that have been historically recited for healing and in times of illness. I'll pass out some handouts that will have everything you need. A short bit about praying in community. A community of faith can provide more than support when people are in need of help. The members of a faith community can strengthen someone's resolve to heal and can link their prayers to ours. They can envelop someone battling an illness and caring in love. Praying with the community alters us. Often when life hurts, we pray by ourselves and assume we're alone. When we enter a community to pray, our eyes open up, we see that we're not alone. Sometimes a community's prayers can literally save a life. Community is maybe the essential component of Jewish healing. So, with all that said, what we were going to do is, if people want to just raise their hand and, we'll go through that way, or we can use the tickets that we gave out at the beginning and just call on people arbitrarily. If nobody raises their hand, I'm going to pull tickets and call on you. So who wants to start? And the funnier the story about Sam, the better it is. So feel free to. Anybody?
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a couple. They actually brought a prayer, but it turns out we're going to be doing it later because I'm due in training. Apparently, $20,000 a year really works. I have known Sam since 1989, so just picture the shoulder pads and the beret and the clove smoking, and that wasn't me. And we went to college together. David and I both went to Emerson College when we met Sam there. And the strange thing is I've known Sam for so many years, but we did not meet as comedians. We were both totally serious actors. We thought we were like the coolest things. We were like dark and brooding and Goethe and like the whole thing, and it was terrible. No exit, you knew that by heart. And we were in our senior year of Emerson, we were in a horrible play together that was it's called The Serpent, and it was on Broadway in 1967, and it was performed nude. And we were actually given the option as seniors at Emerson, before anyone needed to get waxed. Just going. Used it, and then I don't know what happened. It was like Gabe Kaplan moving a carpet. That's no offense to the Jews.
I actually remember this bit from '96.
I've never seen Gabe Kaplan on the. I just talk about waxing off, but I've never. Don't call me out. I'm not a road hack. Don't hire me, so I can't. So we were given the option to go nude or not, and we decided to just wear tights. And Sam and I we actually shared a dressing room. And so the first time I really got to know Sam was totally in the nude. And if you've ever seen something hilarious, it's like a very serious Sam Brown wearing all tights. It was, Alana, she's psyched because there's a lot there. And so a couple years later, we graduated, everyone went their separate way. He went to New York, which we didn't know, everyone lost touch. And then about 1994, I started doing comedy. My husband and I started a small comedy show, that at the time was kind of small, and it blossomed into something, but it blossomed into something because of Sam, and I'll tell you why. So it was a tiny little show, and we're taking tapes from people, and my mom came out to visit trying to figure out what we were doing. She's like, what are you doing with your life, and all this money I gave you for college, and you're a failure, but I support you. She's a Unitarian, so she's one of those like passive aggressive, really nice, just horrible things about your shoes. And my mom and I go, it's pouring rain, and we're driving on Sunset, and we decided to go to The Source. And The Source was the famous vegetarian restaurant. It was like famous for two things, being in the Woody Allen movie, Annie Hall, and for always smelling like a dirty old Birkenstock. I mean, it was disgusting. And so there's only two of us in the whole restaurant, my mother and I look over, it's pouring rain, there's this guy hunched over a table, and I look over and I was like, I know the back of that head, I know that head anywhere. I've seen all of his heads. And I was like, and he turned around, it's Sam. And that head too, beautiful. Kojak. And it was Sam, and I was like, what are you doing here? He just moved to Los Angeles. I think maybe 2 days before. He knew no one. I don't even know if he might have been living in a car. I didn't even know. Crazy. So anyway, we started talking, and he goes, well, I'm doing comedy. I've been doing all these comedy shows in New York. And, which was like the real, I think he was a real comic. And I was like, well, I just started doing comedy because I took a bad comedy, course, and I love to say dick in front of people. So I was like, oh, and, Mary, you can be in that dick. And, no, I know Sam's mom's here, but she gets it.
Regularly.
Yeah, regularly. Yeah, thank you. Took that and ran with it.
Right now.
I know. And I said, well, we're doing a comedy show, and I said, we're booking it. I'm trying to figure out, I didn't even know how to book it, and I said, do you have a tape or something? I'd love to see it. So we've gotten the worst tapes from people, but it was Sam, and I was like, he's an actor, he's not a comic. I mean, he's funny, but whatever. And I went home that night, and we popped it in the VCR. That's how long ago it was. DVDs and girls, boys. And it was the funniest. I mean, the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Dave and I were weeping, and we played it over and over and over again.
We played it like 10 times.
10 times. We kept it, we still have it, and the good thing is that we have every single set. So basically, before I get into that, he became basically our headliner, and everybody and their brother was in the show, and we're really lucky. We had great alternative comics. He must have done that show, I don't know how many times, and we recorded every single one, and he really made it was a thing called Velveeta Underground, and he really made it, and the times that I've laughed, the three hardest times I've laughed in my life, once when my husband said something inappropriate in a gynecologist office, I was like, that's hilarious, and then the other two were Sam, and I just remember that, and it was just so funny, and I want to thank him because, and his red pants, because, hey everybody, red pants. Not everybody knows, but what a brilliant comedian, what a great soul, and for a while we hadn't seen each other, it was always hard to connect, and everyone has kids, and we have kids, and then we've reconnected in the last couple years, and I just feel honored. I also wanted to read a quick thing, since I babbled all my time away, but he made me want to get up there, he made me try to strive to be ever get a laugh in my life. And I've done a lot of shows, I've traveled doing comedy. I've never seen people react the way they react to Sam. And 2 or 3 times he's actually had meltdowns on stage. It was brilliant. He's like, I'm not going to do my material, and he just starts screaming about something. And he literally, I did what Pete wants, not before I had a child. So I want to thank him for inspiring so many comedians that we know, also inspiring me as a friend. And I'm so glad you got out of drama, because it wasn't. So I also have a letter, since there were so many people that inspired him, there's some people that couldn't make it here tonight. It was a quick letter that they wrote, and I wanted to sort of read it to you. And I got this, it wasn't even on Facebook, it was on MySpace. So that's how out of touch these people are. So this is the letter. Dear Mr. Brown, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a lifetime of Saturday nights and joked attention while you honed newer bits and left us in the dumpster behind the Improv on Melrose next to Dane Cook's movie career. But we think you are crazy if you expect us not to write you a letter telling you who we think we are when you've always told us. We see you as you see us, in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions. A husband, a father, a fighter, a genius, a road hack, and a survivor. Sincerely yours, Methadone Sal, urine-encrusted raincoat, Bread the Alcoholic Mailman, Shampoos with Crisco, Tinkles Anywhere, Mama's Little Disappointment, and Part-Time Whore, or also known as the Off-Track Betting Club.
So who's next? Okay. Sam's mom, Judy. She has stories about Sam.
Well, I thought I should be next.
Choose one.
What did you say?
Choose one.
The worst one?
Get focused.
My claim to fame is that I've known Sam longer than anybody. When Sam was a little boy, he was such a pain in the ass. Dinner with Sam was so exhausting. He was always on. I mean, really on. And Dick and I would like leave the table and, oh, it's bedtime, thank God. That was how he began. His drama career, however, began when he had a little impediment at the time, and he was the Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz. And then there were a lot of other stories, but I remember he performed in a couple of comedy clubs in Boston, in the Boston area, where I wish he lived. And he had a thing going on the Jews, which was so irreverent and so crazy and attacking people in the audience. But I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, this was so awful. I was under a table, and we brought two couples, our best friends, who, you know, we're very close to, and Sam's very close to, and one of them wanted to leave, Barbie and Alan. I can't tell you how. There's no way, unless you'd like to do the bit.
Can you do the bits?
I don't even know what you started going on.
What Jews that like what you can't be buried in, right?
No.
Oh, no.
Can I have a foreskin back?
Oh,
Is that what it
I don't know what it was. Thank God I forgot. And
Nobody loves an eighth of a story more than this guy. Giving your son special cancer and your party
he always steals the show.
Keep going.
Oh, I had a whole thing, but of course, this is a really senior moment. You think you have them. Oh,
You can say something again.
okay, if I think of it, I'll interrupt you.
Good.
Oh, no, I know. Steve had alerted all of our friends to, he got to be on a radio show, a comedy radio show in the Boston area. And so and it was like on 6:30 in the morning. So we all set our alarms, and I'm hearing my son, and I am a terrible driver, and I get lost, so does he, by the way, but he had to, of course. And the thing starts, and he goes into, you know, his comedy bit, and then he says, oh, I'm driving now, and there's my mother going round the rotary and round the rotary and round the rotary. She doesn't know how to get off, and oh my God, she almost had an accident. And this is what I got up to 6 in the morning for. Anything like it.
All right, who's next? All right, move the bag.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right.
I wrote it down, so.
Say your name.
Hi, my name's Johnny Walker.
No.
Really?
My real name. I want some ribs. I want some motherfucking ribs. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. I should have stayed inside the egg in that safe, warm Easter egg until I realized that this is a tribute to you, and it can't take place inside an Easter egg because you're a Jew. If I think of ribs, an Easter egg, Tia Carrera, Pia Sedora, Mia Farrow, or a drunken mailman, I think of you. And I think of you a lot. You're the first working comic I ever met. You were my mentor, and you always made me cry laughing. It's been 10 years since the Good Bar on Sunset Days, but I remember them vividly. It was my comedy graduate school, and Sam was the dean. Leslie Wolf was my freshman counselor, and she introduced me to you. And you took the time to get to know me, to encourage me, congratulate me when I got my first paying gig, my first agent, warned me about my eventual, inevitable disillusionment with the industry, with life on the road, doing gigs in Alabama, and teaching me what it meant to be a working comic. That line between art and doing your job. How to work out and refine your jokes as they evolve from bits to chunks to sets and performing them in places where people don't believe in evolution because they were still Neanderthals. Revisiting and redefining your old material, it was watching a master craftsman, an artist. You spilled your insides upon the stage and painted with them. You spill it out in grotesquely personal and hilarious detail. I remember one night I was chain smoking outside the club, and you came up to me and you said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" And I thought it was a bit, and I tried to play along, but you weren't playing. You said, "You're fucking killing yourself, Johnny. You want to choke to death? You want to get fucking lung cancer? You're as serious as I've ever seen you." And it really bothered you to watch me smoke. And when one of your heroes speaks to you like that, you take it in, and it hits your core. Now, I didn't quit immediately. Sam isn't Jesus. Just a roommate at the mental asylum. But when I did quit smoking, I thought of you. After those Good Bar shows ended, I didn't see too much of you. I was on the road being a comic. I was also getting married. And it was years between meetings when I later saw you at the Improv, and you were fit and happy, dressed in a tight white suit, sort of like a Jewy John Travolta on the way to a masseur. You just owned the screenplay and you destroyed on that stage. And I felt so proud and energized to be a witness to you then. Your persistence, your talent, it all pays off. This is how you make it. And that's an image that makes me so joyful. And then I saw a shocking Facebook post. "Welcome to fatherhood, young Johnny. It's the greatest." Holy shit. Sam Brown, the angry, narcissistic, anxious, misanthropic Jew, is a father? I'm shocked. You're married with a gorgeous wife and beautiful children. I was blown away. When my parents got divorced, I discovered it in a voice message my dad left. When I learned my childhood dog died, it was in an email. My grandpa died in a text message, and I learned you had cancer on Facebook. Sweet. I know two things about you that are true. One, you shock me, and you can shock a crowd. And I know another thing, that you rage against the light. That no one gives Sam Brown the light. Well, you can give him the light, but he's going to go over his time. He's going to end on his own terms, and he's going to lump the whole room if he has to. He'll exhaust the audience, and he'll rage against the light, whoever the fuck is behind the light, blinking it on and off. He'll rage against that light giver till the light giver gives up and sits down. I don't know who's behind the light, who's waving it in your face, except that it used to be Leslie Wolf. You make me cry with awe, with recognition, with laughter, with shock, because you're a wonderful, wonderful person. And I'm so glad you found your calling in your life, stand-up comedy. And I knew you when you were single and angry and sharp and hilarious. And I'm so glad you found a family, and I'm so appreciative that I witness it now. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I have a baby who's due in 2 weeks. I'm so blessed to know you and to follow you, not follow you, to open for you. And I hope to open again for you soon. Thanks.
I'm Leslie Wolf. I guess I'm Dr. Johnny because he gave me a shout out. I had the joy of running Sam's show, and I mean, obviously I didn't see the direct correlation to the fact that I've been teaching over 400 students and have a monthly show at the Improv, all because of him and his inspiration on me. And I will say, I hate comedy. I hate listening to comedy. I want to kill every comedian that I see.
Then you realize it was me talking.
I love Sam Brown so much that I look forward to every Saturday night to listen to his same set again and again, sometimes different things, and bend over in such laughter that I had tears falling down my face and pain in my stomach every single time. And how long did we have that show? I don't even remember, but I will say, as I ebb and flow in my own career, in my own life, I often think of the people that have made an impact and the people that are truly talented. Of course, because I'm an unprepared comedian, I didn't write down my story. I'm just talking, but I did bring, I will say, a little picture that I found, and we know it's only because it's a little Polaroid picture. But in the picture, Sam is hugging me, and I will say I don't want to get emotional, but I've never felt more supported creatively and emotionally than from Sam Brown. He's taught me so much. So, and that's just coming from, I'm the worst actress, I can't do a drama audition, so this is good. I would say unequivocally, he is my favorite comedian ever. I think he is the most talented genius comedically and the most real and willing to go to the truest spot. And when I teach now, in my fraudulent escapades of being a teacher, I do say, go from truth and you will always get the laugh. And if anybody ever did that, it has been Sam Brown. I love you so much and will always, always in my heart carry you.
Anybody? You? Anything? Anybody? Jack Angelo.
I'm Jack Angelo. First off, I'm just now thinking about all the shows that I actually used to go to see. He was the best closer. Like, I could bring it, thank God my wife isn't here. Like, I mean, I could bring any girl to the show. And I knew it was going to be a good night for me. She was going to be on the floor, laughing hysterically, and then she was going home with me. Sam would try to get her away from me, but that was going to happen. I want to start with my wife's mother, my mother-in-law. Sam, my mother-in-law wrote something and she asked if I would read it to you, so this is from her. My dearest Sam, on Tuesday, July 11th, 2000, I walked onto a film set and my life changed. It changed in so many ways, all for the better and simply because of you. You and your partner, my now son-in-law Jack, wrote one of the funniest scripts I've ever read. That day brought with it a blistering heat wave and a tight schedule. I had to muffle my sounds as I screamed with laughter watching you. 1 minute you were dressed as a rabbi. Then a misguided prisoner in a bra and a girdle plastering on lipstick. You hilariously squeezed yourself into a teeny tiny bikini showing off glowing biceps, finally into a magician's costume, complete with top hat and rabbit. That was all by page 4. Sam, you are so gifted. Your humor and sweet soul has touched so many. I was overjoyed when you married Alona and were blessed with your 2 sons. What gifts from God they are to you. I know that God has sent you another challenge, one that most people can't even discuss, sometimes only in a whisper. We often don't know or understand the plan ahead for us. That's the mystery of life. Although our faiths are different, I know you believe in God and that you pray for answers, healing, and understanding. I too believe in God and have been praying for you daily. So tonight, on the night of sharing healing, I offer this prayer for you. Almighty God, please bless my dear friend Sam today and every day. Give him the strength to face what lies ahead. Bless Sam's family as they journey with him during this most difficult time. May the power of love and positive emotions offer him healing as he vows to crush cancer. I love you, Sam. We all need you to keep us smiling. May the light of the world shine on you tonight and open your soul to the power of healing and peace. So much love, Beryl. So on a lighter note.
Feelings.
Yeah.
Stuff your waspy self back in.
All right, I'm a quarter Jim. Just enough to get by when I need it. I have so many stories. I mean, truly, thousands upon thousands of stories. I've spoken to Sam probably almost every day for the past dozen years. I don't know, I didn't really even know where to begin, but at the time, the person who ran the management company had just taken a landmark forum course. And this landmark forum, it's like a new age, Scientology.
It's right next door.
Basically, it's basically a cult. Sorry if any of you were into it.
All of you.
It's a cult and it basically teaches you all the things that you should have learned, like, you know, everybody else. So this character who was running this management company just gotten back from the Landmark Forum, and he was like, you know, like literally like glowing. And he decided it would be a really good idea if all the clients of his that the management company did a landmarky type thing and write out a mission statement saying like who you were and what you wanted to accomplish, and then to list all of your goals, personal, professional, etc., etc. So naturally, I thought this was the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life, and I was ready to leave the management company. Sam, who had recently taken a Landmark Forum course of his own, thought this was the greatest idea he ever heard. And said that, no, it's really good, you know, you gotta work the plans in and all this like speaking stuff. I was like, you know. So anyway, I have the document.
Just be with it.
It only cost you $1,000.
I know, right? But anyway, I thought I was looking at it, and I thought the mission statement that he wrote was very interesting, and I think, and then I thought there were some funny things. So I'll just read this. So this is what he wrote. Who I am is powerful transformation for the world through laughter, compassion, and love. All of my actions will reflect these guiding principles. As a screenwriter, performer, and provider of entertainment content, I will inspire people through powerful storytelling to open their hearts and step into their greatness. I will pour every ounce of my soul into these projects. From the moment I can communicate verbally, I've been blessed to be able to make people laugh. I believe it's a gift that was given to me, and it has enabled me to overcome my own darkness and thrive in a way I'm truly grateful for. As someone who has been fortunate enough to follow my dreams, it is my duty to share my gifts in abundance fully in every way possible. I will be someone who can be counted on to deliver more than was expected or agreed upon in such a way that it leaves others inspired to do the same. I will graciously welcome the input, love, and guidance of others as I continue to grow daily to become the person God intended me to be, perfect, whole, and complete. My success will be measured by how much love I give to my family, friends, my work, and the world. The things I create will burn brightly and continue to move, touch, and inspire people long after my body leaves this planet. In the words of the great Oscar Wilde, those who laugh, last. So, I must say that as long as I've known Sam, and as funny as Sam is, he is a man of his word, and he has tried to live that life as much as possible. As for the Landmark Forum, I would like to list a couple things that he put down here that I don't really think were ever going to happen, but I think they were kind of amusing. Vision, professionally. I'll have 15 movies made in the next 15 years that will be remembered as some of the greatest comedies of all time. By the end of the summer, we'll turn in our second draft of Undateable. That will be the best thing Jack and I have written. It'll be funnier and more poignant than anything we've written to date. It'll have rich and defining characters that everyone will be able to identify with and laugh hysterically at. Warren O'Keefe, who has since been fired from the Walt Disney Company, will sing our praises and greenlight the movie in the fall. Fuck you, Landmark. And finally, my favorite, I couldn't believe it, I'm looking at it, says, and we will be nominated for our first Academy Award by 2012. A lot of work to go, man. Who said that? So we're going to get better, all right? And just so you can like get some idea of like Sam and my working relationship, he put some personal goals here. I'm reading these and I still can't believe it. Here it goes. I will start every day with a clear, measurable goal for work that I will declare to Jack and be held accountable for. At 10 every morning, I will be well dressed and ready for work. I'll be ready to plan the day and begin working with Jack. We'll work at least until 7 every night. We'll take the same lunch break every day, starting at 1, and you can see why. Mine said, yeah, I'm going to get some shit done. And my favorite and the last one, I will continue to take classes to improve my writing and communication skills, always looking to grow my mind and sharpen my skills. I'll start with a class on communication this weekend. You actually take it? You did? How are you? Honestly, I could go on and on. It really goes on forever. This will go right into the archives. I was talking to, I remember a conversation that our agent, John Huddle, and I were having, and we were, when we heard, this news at first, and we were just angry and sad and trying to figure it all out, and then we just started talking about you and talking about what we love about you and what we admire about you. And one of the things, and I think this document is indicative of it, is you have always been someone who has tried to overcome whatever limitations you think you had, and it's something truly remarkable. And I would just like to say that whether you outlive us all, or whether you're gone tomorrow, that is a lesson that I'm never going to forget. It's something that I'm going to always try to do. I'm going to always try to be a better person, and I can't imagine ever not thinking of you as I'm going through that process. So anyway, I love you.
All right, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna do a little brief one, and then hopefully somebody else will come up. America, as you know, I originally met Sam in the mid to late '90s at a stand-up gig at Luna Park. That Sam had either organized or was, he was one of the hot comics at. And I remember I was an aspiring entertainment lawyer at the time, and I was there to see some friends perform, and Kia was there. And
It was our show.
And
Give us some credit.
And Mike Landry, all that whole gang, and I remember that Sam he was extremely funny, and there was some buzz going around about Sam, he was the guy people were talking about, there were agents to see or managers there to see, and we met at one of his gigs. I remember that for a while I would hear about him through a couple of mutual friends. We were all partying pretty hard back then, so maybe there was more from that period, but that's what I recall. And then cut to about 12 to 15 years later, not partying anymore, married with kids, and my wife comes home from a ladies who launched business networking group, and she tells me about Alona, another person in the group, and her husband Sam Brown, a writer. And I said small world, and before you know it, Sam and Alona are having a Friday Shabbat dinner at our house, and I think Max was a newborn at that time, and he wasn't sleeping very well, because I remember the topic of conversation, which just, it was a reflection of where our life was at that time. It was about Ferberizing and how do you get your kids to sleep, and it was a good time, and then it led to dinner at their place. I recall, we did sleep training for babies, was the topic and exercise of the night. And during that Friday night dinner at our place, Sam was sharing some things with me that made me think of this 140-chapter biker organization that I work with called BACA, which is Bikers Against Child Abuse, who are guys who look like Hell's Angels. Here, just pass this around. You should pass it around. These are the guys I'm talking about. They look like Hell's Angels, and they get involved in these child abuse cases all over the country. And when I shared some info in the videos with Sam about BACA, he became so engaged and passionate about them, feeling like everyone should know about them. He suggested that he and his writing partner Jack and I team up to try and put a show together about these guys. And then everybody should know about these guys. And over the next 2 years, we spent a lot of time working together on this, meeting often, going to meetings together, and so on. And during that time, I learned a lot about Sam, his commitment to something he believes in. I introduced Sam to the founder of BACA, and then had a number of meetings where they become comfortable and trusting enough of Jack and Sam that they agreed to give us their trust in finding a potential partner for them. And we had interest from some companies that were just not the right kind of partner for his project, unless it was a show about bikers.
Talking to his stepfather as a squirrel, to hiding in an isolation chamber, to some psychotic girlfriend and a cat, and I was like, who is this guy? And by the end, I was like, great show, Sam. And he gave me a big hug, and I was like, I know everything about you. Well, fast forward, I guess I got to know him better, and Paul and I got married, and Sam was at the wedding, and I go, how are you, Sam? And he goes, well, I just met a girl, who's really great. Well, that girl turned out to be Alona, who, has certainly, alongside Sam, made an incredible impression on my life in many, 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 many ways. Shoot, just lost my thought. Anyway, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I get choky. But I recall actually after really getting to know Sam and Alona being over at one of their dinners, and everybody seems to have had their share of these Shabbats. But you know, after a little wine one day, one of my most favorite Sam funny moments is Sam doing an impression of a wine bottle opening. I mean, I was like, who does an impression of a wine bottle opening? And I don't know, Sam. You're gonna have to put one of those on tape for me sometime soon. But it was hysterical. And I guess beyond that, I think after Max was born, Paul and I were lucky enough and blessed enough to be given the honor of being Max's godparents. And as Max started getting a little older, we're sitting at another one of these Shabbat dinners, and I'm watching Max picking up, what was it, like a cookie or some
Bread.
The bread. And he's taking the bread and he's turning it into all these sort of pieces, and instead of, this is like one. And he takes it and he puts it on his head, and it rolls down his head, and he goes, ha 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 ha. And all I know is that Sam has made the recreation of himself in Max, with the beautiful good looks and good nature of his beautiful wife Alona, and the space that they occupy in our lives and in our hearts is immeasurable. And with that, I say, fuck cancer, you're gonna get them, and I love you, man.
I'm likely to break down any second, so I'll try to keep it short. My name's Olivier, and I am not this kind of meeting. I won't talk about me. I'll try to share about Sam. I'm starting, by the way, to be offended because I've never been invited to a Shabbat. Now I'm about as non-Jewish as it gets, but it doesn't matter. Like I think buddy.
No one that Hitler would have invited.
But I have a very precious connection to Sam, and it's breathe. It's through my wife, whom really I wouldn't have met, but for him. And why is it so hard? I don't even like him that much. Without whom I wouldn't have met, and to hear her talk about it in such sweet terms really sort of gives me a lot of gratitude, and it's been a pleasure being your friend. You've given yourself to us. You've shared your home. Our kids love each other, and we're here for you. We're here for you through it all. And anyway, that's it. Thank you.
My name is Russell Wirtz, and I just want to say that Olivier is such a pussy. I had no idea. And I was talking to him on the drive over here, and he's like, "Oh, there's no way I'm going to get up and speak. I'm going. That should count for something. I'm not going to get up and speak." True. Okay. So, all right, there we go. So, first of all, Pam and Linda stole my opening, all right? I have 5 minutes about not reading the email and not knowing what I'm supposed to be, and that's a stand-up comic thing. I've got 5 minutes on that. I'm from the non-stand-up comic group over here. Let's win. No, it doesn't. But I'm one of Sam's more recent, friends. But I can say that if you asked me to describe him in a few words, I would say loyal, intelligent, inspiring, funny, and if you'd asked me 2 hours ago I would have just said, our wives are friends. But I've been listening to all you folks. And my God, Sam, you're a great dude. You help these people, you inspire these people. And loyal, that was the other one. I couldn't scroll through it fast enough. But it's just nice to hear all this stuff. My wife was like, you gotta write something. You gotta write something down. And I really didn't read the email. And I said, honey, I got this covered. My mom had cancer. I'm just gonna get up and say, stay strong and stay positive and stay strong. And that's about it. That's what you want to do. And you're doing that. And you've got, all these wonderful people who you've done all this for. And I actually had to Google Luna Park because I had no idea what it was. I thought it was a water-themed amusement park. But it's a restaurant, right? Where you all...
It was.
Oh, I'm kidding. It still has a website.
You're so 90s.
Well, there's a new one. Maybe we should, thanks for making me feel like I'm back in college, by the way. There's something about this room that just takes me way, way back. But yeah, listen, you are an inspiring guy.
I'll go. And I'm gonna go over here.
I'll follow
Not
you.
that I have anything planned, just that's an awkward corner. I'm Mike. You stole my joke. I was thinking that I didn't stand up in time. And then you followed it up and no, it's over. I'm not a comedian. Clearly. I am pretty funny. I will, but.
Are you an alcoholic?
I am an alcoholic. That is true.
You got something.
I have that. I have that going for me. So I'm here on behalf of my wife Julia and our unborn child and our son William, who is one of Max's close friends. I guess I'm going to go into this it's a weird sort of relationship. I met Sam and Alona the same night I met my wife at their wedding. And he didn't introduce us or anything, so I don't really owe you anything on that one, but it's interesting, and we're all very, very close now. And it took, that was in 2007, fall of 2007, and then again we were at Danielle's birthday party a couple years later, and Alona was heavily pregnant with Max, and Julia was newly pregnant with our first son. And we sat at a table with them again, and we clicked this time. And well, Julia lived in a different country. I met her that night, so who knew we were going to be married? I don't think you guys were married yet, so maybe not. I think it was a date thing. I'm all about timing, which and the timing was right at Danielle's birthday, and we've become close friends with them. We've been on vacation with them, and we spend a lot of time with them. We're in this gourmet club with them, and which is a lot of fun because I followed all the gourmet club guys. This is really surreal for me, the whole thing, and it took me a long time to have. I really don't accept it still, but because I don't know how to deal with these types of things, and I never have had to deal with anything like this. But I don't like it, and I feel, that we'll always be there for Alona and the boys. We're here. We're family now. That's the way life works. Is we're part of that sort of new nuclear family, and I know there's a lot of people in this room that feel the same way. And I loved hearing the stories from everybody that sort of came up with Sam. That's known him for a long time, and Jack Daniels moved the hell out of him. I hear comedians are dark, so it was nice to hear that you guys found some solace, under Sam's tutelage and care and support. And the other thing I think that if if there's a lesson that I'm learning in all of this experience, it's that I have a tendency. I'm turning it into AA now.
You want a chip?
I feel like a newcomer. I have a tendency to not bring people in as closely as I should. I keep, even when we're close, I just there's maybe a veneer. I don't know what that is. And this experience, I want to have more members of sound. I want to have, I want to be able to tell these great stories. And, if I've learned anything in this experience, it's that. It's just, embrace those that are close to you, and let them know how you feel, and share yourself with them. I don't know. You get it. So. So that's all. Look, we love you very much, and I love your family and your mothers, and
Thank you.
Are there any other phones?
I know I've
Do you need this?
spoken a lot, but I just wanted to know if there's anybody in this room who's either not a comedian or an alcoholic. Could you raise your hand?
Right here.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's go with Paul and then John. Oh, sorry. And
No,
what's your
fine.
name?
Fine. No.
Let's go with that guy.
You go.
The Yankee actor.
So Sam and I were also set up on a date. And it wasn't that funny, actually. Actually, I met Sam through our mutual friend Carla. Where's Carla? Stuck in traffic. And it was a long time ago when we were single, all single together, and Gino brought up, I just remember lonely men. Even lonely men. And that was, I remember that word coming up a lot. And it was really fun to be lonely with you. Actually, it really was. And I have to say that I had a lot of fun, lonely times at that depressing house that you lived in. But it was fun. It was really depressing. I'm also going to out myself as a bit of a douchebag. Just sort of taking your lead as being an open book. When my wife and I got married, we had a cutoff, and you actually were the last cutoff, and I'm so sorry. I want to apologize for that. I mostly feel bad because I'm sure you would have gotten that and just made terrible fun of me, and also I'm sorry that I didn't have that opportunity. So I want to apologize for that. So having said that, I do want to say, Sam, that your spirit, I mean, aside from all this, but just like your spirit is like the most light-filled spirit I have ever seen in my life. Because, even, like I said, even like the most lonely times, you're able to find the humanity, and you're able to find the humor, and you were able to find the goodness in the loneliness, which was something that I think I can't really do. And it's a gift. You have such an amazing gift. And somebody who can be as warm and as loving and also have the most powerful comedic sensibility that I have ever seen ever on a stage is just, to be in one package is amazing. And really, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I'm just in awe of you as a human being, really. And just to hear about, all the love that's in this room, it's really, it's mind-boggling, really. So, anyways, I just, you know, again, I read it really late, and so this is going to be, I wish I had more time. So Sam, your biting and inappropriate sense of humor is what I love most about you. Your loving heart is what I love the second most about you. Your hair is what I love third most about you, the old hair. Your Jewishness is what I love fourth most about you. Your fake laugh is what I love fifth most about you. Your wedding speech at Carla's wedding, the first one, is what I love sixth most about you. Your demeanor when you told my students that their movie ideas sucked when you paid for my class is what I love seventh most about you. Your ability to get such a beautiful wife is what I love eighth most about you. Your sweetness in inviting me to a Thanksgiving dinner when we didn't know each other all that well yet is what I love ninth most about you. And the fact that you can collect such an amazing group of people who would do anything for you is what I love 10th most about you. Actually, wait. I'm going to move that to the second most, just behind my new number one thing that I love most about you, which is that you will crush every last cell of this damn fucking cancer. So here's to your awesome coverage. I love you.
I didn't write anything because I didn't think I really needed to. First of all, Sam, as you know, if I have anything to say about it or do with it, there's no fucking way you're going anywhere. Okay? I've known Sam for a long time, and when I think back about when I met him, it's completely insane. He was wearing orange pants and a purple shirt and stood right out. And I just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the outfit, I paid attention. And when I met Sam, it was at a time where I was single. It was a long time ago, and I had this girl stalking me. And for those of you that have known Sam for a while, it happened to be the same time that Sam was having Allie removed from his life and had to get restrained. So we became fast friends, and it was very easy. And we've had this journey together. And Sam, throughout everything that I've experienced with him, has maintained his sense of humor. In fact, a couple days after his surgery, we were sitting in the hospital room with him. He was in excruciating pain, sitting there still trying to smile and be his funny self. And his brother and sister were in the room, just the four of us. And without me revealing too many family secrets, Adam and Lisa are not the best of friends. And the tension in the room was incredible. Like, it seemed like at any moment, one of them was going to leap across the room and strangle the other one. And in the midst of it, Sam looks at me, and he's rolling his eyes, and he starts laughing. And I can't imagine, why is he laughing in the middle of all this? And he says to me, he goes, cancer, it's the greatest thing for bringing families together. And I will never forget him saying that for that moment. It really kind of sums up Sam, I think. Because he's really, I've been through some difficult stuff with Sam, and he's maintained his personality and his sense of humor the entire time. And I'm not going to go on a lot longer because we've all said all these great things about Sam, and it's all true and it's all real. And you know, Sam's had a profound effect on my life, and I'm sure he will continue to. And I'm glad that you're in my life for, you know, however long that is. And as I told you, I expect you to be telling jokes at my funeral. So keep going, Sam.
Hi, I'm John. Sitting here, I remember I was at
I was at this roast that was kind of disguised as a charity function. And it was Jeffrey Ross and Lisa Lampanelli and Tom Arnold. And at the end of the table was a roast of Jim Cameron. And at the end of the table was Jim Cameron's special effects guy. And after all of those comedians crushed the room, Jim Cameron's effects guy had to get up and give a speech. So, I'm Sam and Jack's agent, and I've been representing these guys for, I don't know, 10 years probably. Longer. It feels like a dream, those 10 years. And I'll tell you, Sam is he's a live wire. And over the countless deals that we've done, when it's the three of us and sometimes four with Alan's, Sam always lets you know where you stand. And he wears it all on the sleeve, and it's all very close to the surface. And after he would finish yelling at me, I would then hang up and call Jack up. Jack, can you please talk some sense into this? Which invariably he would for the most part. And that same kind of closeness to the surface that Sam had when he was sort of yelling at all of us is the same thing that he would use when he did his stand-up, which is why I would never sit in the front row, and that's why I feel like I'm almost a little too close to him right now. But I'll tell just a quick story, because I know everyone's spoken. For some ungodly reason, I feel like I'm closing out tonight. When we found out that Sam had cancer, and I remember I called him on I think it was a holiday weekend on a Sunday, and I planned to come over and just say hello. He's like, hey, I'm calling you from the Patrick Swayze wing of Cedar-Sinai. Already? But I'm having surgery tomorrow, so. He went in, and Alex and I went to visit him shortly thereafter, and he looked like a little pre-production office, about more people than 4. There must have been 15 people in there. A girl was selling me honey. That was. And it was a lot of energy and action. I asked Sam how he felt. He'd had his spleen removed and everything had just come out. And he looked at me as he was fiddling with his catheter, screaming for a nurse to come and take care of it. And he said, the one thing that all of this has taught me is about the goodness in humanity. And at that moment, of all the nonsense we deal with in the day-to-day, is I thought to myself, this is a guy who can teach all of us something. And I'm happy to know you, Sam, and I agree with everybody in this room that you have a great spirit and that you will tackle this like every other obstacle you've tackled in your life. And I know all of our prayers in today's session will work.
One more, let's take one of these actually and pass them down, and everybody can grab one of these. Anybody wanna do something else here, or will we kind of head into the next phase of this thing?
Is that what I've got it?
Almost. This is something that I put together, sort of a little, while some of us see, personal reflection, for others it is in communal prayer, we find the greatest power for healing. The sick person needs the assistance of doctors, nurses, and family to get well again, but they're also in need of spiritual support from the community. Rabbi Michael Paley writes, the Mishnah Berach encourages support and energy in the entire community. It provides a time to appreciate the unique contribution of each person and articulate how each of our contributions are necessary for the wholeness of Israel and part of the wholeness of the entire realm of creation. Somehow, collectively, each individual's compassion is a dimension of God's own infinite compassion. In addition, When we pray in community and use some traditional Jewish liturgy, we not only benefit from the company of others, but we find comfort and strength in knowing that the words we speak have been spoken by millions of others who, like us, yearn for healing. So we're going to start with Mishnah Berach prayer on page 1 of the handout. We're going to do a couple of short ones. We're going to read the Mishnah Berach prayer together. The other one, I might just ask the people who didn't share to read, and then we'll break before we do another one that's on page 2. This part will be pretty quick. So the Mishnah Berach prayer is traditionally recited for someone who is ill, asks God for a refuah shalema, in Hebrew, a complete healing, and then specifies 2 aspects: refuah hanefesh, healing of the soul, the spirit, the whole person; refuah haguf, cure of the body. Cure the body means to wipe out the tumor, clear up the infection, or regain mobility. To heal the spirit involves creating a pathway to sensing wholeness, depth, mystery, purpose, and peace. So let's just read this. We'll read the English translation together, the prayer in English translation. So let's just read that together. May the one who blessed our ancestors, patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob,
Midrash, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Blessed be the one who is ill, Sam, Shmuel, son of Judy, Judith. May the holy blessed one overflow with compassion. To restore him, to heal him, to strengthen him, to enliven him. The one will send him speedily complete healing, healing of the soul and healing of the body, along with the ill, among the people of Israel and all humankind. Soon, speedily, without delay, and let us all say, Amen.
Can somebody want to volunteer? Somebody who didn't share, just volunteer to read the next one, prayer. Somebody? It's in English. It's all in English. Next page, top of page 2.
Okay, you are mighty Lord, who brings healing to the sick. You are great in granting salvation, providing the living sustenance with loving kindness, caring for the sick with great mercies, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, releasing the captive, and keeping faith with those who are lost among the living. Who is like you, master of mighty acts, and who compares to you? King who restores health and causes salvation to sprout. You who are faithful, comforting the ill among us.
And let's all say this blessing. Baruch
Adonai, Rafei Chavlim, blessed are you, O Lord, who heals the sick.
Hey, Dave Cohen, want to
Yeah.
do the next one?
The Saint Francis, or?
Blessing for healing.
May God heal your body and soul. May your pain cease. May your strength increase. May your fears be released. May blessings, love, and joy surround you. Amen.
And can somebody volunteer and read the St. Francis prayer, by the way, is not actually written by St. Francis. It's a beautiful prayer on getting out of ourselves. Last line refers to the death of self-centeredness, selfishness, and ego, not physical death. So,
I'm Amelia, St. Francis Prayer. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth, that where there is doubt, I may bring faith, that where there is despair, I may bring hope, that where there are shadows, I may bring light, that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven, it is by dying from self that one awakens to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
and the next two, historically, Psalms have been recited for centuries by Jewish people and congregations at times of need and for healing. Specifically, a number of specific songs have been read when praying for the recovery of the sick person. And there are numerous songs that are believed to have special importance for healing. But we'll read two of the most well-known. What I'd ask to do on this one is, let's link up by holding hands. We'll take a minute of silence to focus our thoughts, and we can read these together. Please leave your stories if you've written them in the box, and we'll read these next two that are two of the most sort of famous songs. Okay?
I'm going to link to you guys.
So Psalm 23. The Lord is my
shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
And this next one is particularly, said a lot, and more healing it for someone that's sick. I'm going to do that. Let's hold hands on this, and let's just take a second. And, you know, let's all send that sort of positivity and that healing energy to Sam.
I can feel it.
Okay. Song of Mala. I will lift up my eyes to the mountains. Let's read it together. I will lift up
My eyes to the mountains, from where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who watches you will not slumber. Behold, he who watches Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade upon your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore.
Okay, well, that's it. I think you guys, do you want to